What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and it's another double feature day here today as we continue on our 31 Days of Disney. First up, Wreck-It Ralph, featuring the voice talents of John C. Reilly, Sarah Silverman, Jack McBrayer, Jane Lynch, Alan Tudyk, Mindy Kaling, Ed O'Neill, and Dennis Haybert. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, it's Sunday. Got another double feature here today as we continue our journey through the 31 Days of Disney. Since things got so chaotic last week, I gave you a double feature of New Release Saturday yesterday, so there was no Disney film yesterday. So yesterday's Disney film, or what should have been it, Wreck-It Ralph, is here today, paired with what would have been today's feature film, Frozen, for a great double feature. Let's get into Wreck-It Ralph here first, shall we? Now, whenever Litwax Arcade closes, the various video game characters leave their game roles and socialize via a power strip called Game Central Station. One evening, the villain performer in a game called Fix-It Felix Jr., Wreck-It Ralph, visits a villain support group called Badanon and expresses his frustrations with his assigned role. When Ralph is excluded and ostracized from his game's 30th anniversary party, he decides to go and win a medal and earn some respect. Upon overhearing that one can earn medals in the first-person shooter game called Hero's Duty, Ralph decides to sneak in and steal one while the characters fight insectoid monsters known as cybugs. Ralph accidentally launches himself in an escape shuttle with a cybug inside and crash lands in the confectionery-themed go-kart racing game Sugar Rush. With Ralph gone, his game is labeled out of order and is put in danger of being unplugged. Felix, the hero of the game, leaves Fix-It Felix Jr. in order to try and find Ralph and ends up allying with Sergeant Calhoun, the heroine of Hero's Duty. Calhoun is tracking the cybug, as cybugs behave as a virus once they're outside of their game. Felix worries that Ralph will meet the same fate as Turbo, the protagonist of the racing game Turbo Time. Now, Turbo became jealous of a rival racing game and tried to take it over, resulting in both games being unplugged. Now, in Sugar Rush, a girl named Vanellope von Schweetz steals Ralph's medal and uses it to buy her way into the nightly race that determines which characters will be playable the next day in the arcade. Now, King Candy, the ruler of Sugar Rush's world, forbids Vanellope to race, as she is a glitch that teleports erratically. Vanellope promises Ralph to get the medal back if he will help her win. Ralph helps her build a brand new cart and then teaches her how to drive inside of Diet Cola Mountain. Meanwhile, Calhoun and Felix arrive in Sugar Rush, where they fall into Nesquicksand, work together to escape, and begin to fall in love. King Candy hacks into Sugar Rush's source code and retrieves Ralph's medal, giving it back to him. Candy then claims that if Vanellope becomes a playable character, her glitch may lead to Sugar Rush being labeled out of order and unplugged. Ralph decides that he can't allow Vanellope to race, and he ends up destroying the cart that they built together. Calhoun abandons Felix when he inadvertently reminds her of her late fiancé, who was killed by a cybug during their wedding. Felix ends up being imprisoned by Candy's assistant, Sour Bill, while Calhoun discovers that the cybug has multiplied exponentially. A despondent Ralph returns to Fix-It Felix Jr., but the game has been evacuated. Ralph then notices that the Sugar Rush game cabinet displays Vanellope on it prominently as an actual playable character. Now realizing that King Candy lied, Ralph returns to Sugar Rush and interrogates Sour Bill, learning that Candy damaged Vanellope's code. Candy's edits to the code have ensured that nobody except himself knows Vanellope's true role. However, if Vanellope can complete one race, all of Candy's changes will be deleted as the game will reset itself. Ralph reconciles with and frees Vanellope and Felix from prison. Felix fixes the cart and Vanellope belatedly enters the race, just before the cybugs emerge and start destroying the game, as Calhoun, Felix, and Ralph help to evacuate the other characters. Unaware of this development, Candy attempts to ram Vanellope off of the track, causing them both to glitch. Their glitching inadvertently reveals King Candy to be none other than Turbo, who secretly took over Sugar Rush after surviving the unplugging of Turbo Time. Vanellope flees as Turbo is devoured by a cybug, which fuses with him into an insectoid monster. Everyone but Vanellope evacuates the game as glitches aren't allowed to leave their games. After remembering from Hero's Duty that a beacon will draw and destroy the cybugs, Ralph battles Turbo and collapses the Mentos roof of Diet Cola Mountain, creating a glowing eruption that lures and destroys Turbo and the cybugs. Vanellope rescues Ralph and crosses the finish line. The game resets, revealing her as the true ruler of Sugar Rush, Princess Vanellope von Schweetz, although she keeps her glitching ability, considering it an advantage. Ralph returns to his game, content now with his role as a villain, and he's finally respected by his fellow in-game characters. Felix and Calhoun get married, and Ralph watches Vanellope become Sugar Rush's favorite character as our movie comes to its close. While Tangled may have been the one that really started the propulsion for Disney coming out of that second dark age, Wreck-It Ralph was the first one post Tangled to really just kind of grip at my heart and soul. There's such a great message going on here as far as, be yourself. Don't try to be something you're not. And as long as somebody loves you, that's all that matters. Ralph finally has that epiphany at the end of the movie where he mentions that if he can be loved by Vanellope, then that's all he needs in this world. If none of the other people in his game, if none of the kids in the arcade that play the games, if nobody else in Game Central Station gives a damn about Ralph, Vanellope cares about him and loves him, and that's all he needs. And that message really hit home to me when this movie came out because I was going through a serious hard time back then. I had been unemployed for a while. My relationships were falling apart, friendships as well. But I always had the love of my daughter. When she was younger, I wanted us so bad to do Ralph and Vanellope one year for Halloween. We just never could get it together. but the Ralph Vanellope relationship really much echoed me and my daughter at that point in my life. So it was just a really heartfelt great thing to see. And then you figure I grew up as a gamer. I grew up with 80s video games. So as they're doing the beginning of this movie and you're seeing Asteroid, Centipede, Pac-Man, Frogger, Tapper, Burger Time. It's like, man, those are my games at the arcade. For real. That's the stuff I went to the arcade and played. And then those characters are kind of featured throughout the game. You see Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter, you see Sonic the Hedgehog. And it's a great time capsule of video game culture while presenting this fantastic, heartfelt story throughout it all. The songs are catchy too. I have the theme song, Wreck-It Ralph, and the Sugar Rush song regularly featured on my playlists. The When Can I See You Again song by I think it's Owl City is okay, but I don't usually use that one that often. But the songs for both Wreck-It Ralph and Sugar Rush are so damn catchy that they often make my Disney playlists. And this is also the first film to really kind of bring Alan Tudyk into our conscious as he's the voice of King Candy. As you will see going forward here, you're going to hear his name mentioned a lot. With this film and his performance as King Candy, he kind of became what John Ratzenberger is to Pixar. Going all the way back to Toy Story. John Ratzenberger is in, I believe, every Pixar movie. From this point forward, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe Alan Tudyk is in every movie from this point out. And if there comes something that he doesn't do, I'll make sure to point it out. But I know he's in the other feature today, Frozen, because he's the Duke of Weselton. I know he'll be in tomorrow's movie, Big Hero 6. I know he'll be in Tuesday's movie, Zootopia. From there, I forget where we go in our lineup, but I know he's going to be back a few more times. So we're just going to have to keep watching his name pop up in the credits. I really enjoy Wreck-It Ralph, though. And when it comes to my rating for it, I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I don't deem it as quite perfect, but I love the crap out of this movie. What do you guys think of Wreck-It Ralph? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that I'm always asking you guys for in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in at the top of the half hour for the second feature in our double feature. Right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as we will be discussing Frozen, featuring the voice talents of Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, Jonathan Groff, Josh Gad, Santino Fontana, and Alan Tudyk. And then tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, will be another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, and we'll be discussing Big Hero 6 as we continue our 31 days of Disney, featuring the voice talents of Scott Adset, Ryan Potter, Daniel Henney, TJ Miller, Jamie Chung, Damon Wayans Jr., Genesis Rodriguez, James Cromwell, Alan Tudyk, Maya Rudolph, and Stan Lee. You don't want to miss out on any of that content right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. We've got Frozen coming up at the top of the half hour, Big Hero 6 tomorrow, and we still have so much more in store as we continue and begin to wrap up our 31 days of Disney right here on Renegades Reviews. Again, you don't want to miss any of it, so make sure you smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed, make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel or anytime we go live, as is the case with Statboy Sports Bar, Open Mic Night, pay-per-view PLE watch-along coverage, etc. Share these videos with your family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life, fans of video games, fans of John C. Reilly, fans of Sarah Silverman, fans of Jane Lynch, fans of Alan Tudyk, fans of Wreck-It Ralph. Anybody you can think of that would enjoy this content in this video, share it with them, as it's the only way we're going to keep my visibility up in YouTube's algorithms now that we are in fact a monetized channel right here on the platform. Thank you once again to everybody out there who joined me and tuned in today. It means so much more to me than you guys will ever know. And I will see you guys next time.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.